Level 1, Navy SEALs, DEVGRU, the L3 Harris GPNVG-18. You have worn standard night vision. You know what it feels like. 2 tubes, 40 degrees of view, a narrow green tunnel that forces you to scan constantly because your peripheral vision has been amputated. Every corner is a threat you cannot see until you are already in it. Now you flip down the 4-tube Panoramic GPNVG-18. The world opens. 97 degrees of white phosphor vision. The entire room, not a slice of it, not a corridor of it, the entire room, comes in simultaneously. Every doorway, every shadow, every body in the space, crystal white, crisp, immediate. The $40,000 goggles do not just expand your field of view, they eliminate the neurological bottleneck of tunnel vision entirely. DEVGRU operates in multi-level compounds. Bin Laden's house had 3 floors, external walls, a guest structure, and armed men distributed across all of it. In CQB at that scale, peripheral vision is not a luxury. It is the variable that separates the man who clears the room from the man who dies in it. You see everything, the enemy sees nothing. That asymmetry is not a tactical advantage, it is predatory dominance. Level 2, Delta Force, 1st SFODD. The Crye Precision JPC. You strip the heavy plate carrier off, set it down. The conventional infantryman beside you watches and says nothing, because there is nothing to say to a man making a decision that exists in a different category of logic. You put on the JPC, the Jumpable Plate Carrier. Skeletal, minimal, open lattice structure where the fabric should be. Protection only where it is non-negotiable, the heart, the lungs, the organs that keep the body functional in the seconds after contact. Nothing else. No shoulder coverage, no groin panel, no additional pouches riding your spine. You feel the difference immediately. Every kilogram you shed is a fraction of a second you gain. Every fraction of a second you gain is a decision the enemy cannot make fast enough to use. Delta Force does not operate on the infantry philosophy of absorbing damage. They operate on a different theorem entirely. If the round reaches you, something has already gone wrong upstream. The real armor is the speed of the entry, the precision of the discrimination, the violence of the execution. The JPC reflects total confidence, not recklessness, but the surgical certainty that the man wearing it will be faster than the problem. If you needed heavier protection, you were already too slow. Level 3, US Army Green Berets, the ATAK chest mount. The compound is dark. Your ODA is 12 men, embedded 3 months deep in a country whose government does not officially know you are here. The local militia standing beside you numbers 400. The target is a network, not a building. You flip down the encrypted screen on your chest. The ATAK, Android Tactical Assault Kit, renders the battlefield as a living map. Every friendly position, every tracked enemy, the drone feed from the ISR platform circling at altitude, the artillery fan, the AC-130 gunship, currently holding a lazy orbit 6 miles north, waiting. The grid where the closest CAS asset will be on station in 4 minutes. The man beside you is fighting the fighter directly in front of him. That is his entire war. Your war is the whole board. You are not a soldier in the conventional sense of the word. You are a battlefield architect. The ATAK turns your 12-man ODA into a command node that can direct 5 separate elements of firepower, coordinate a militia movement across 3 grid squares, and talk an airstrike onto a target while simultaneously managing the tactical radio traffic of a partner force that has never seen this kind of war. The enemy has rifles, you have orchestras. Level 4, 75th Ranger Regiment, the ROLO blood transfusion kit. The tone changes here. Rangers execute the largest, most violent raids in the American Special Operations inventory. They take the heaviest casualties because they take the hardest objectives. There is no softening that reality. It is the arithmetic of the mission. Before the assault, while the rehearsal is still running and the birds are being loaded, something happens that no Hollywood version of this war has ever shown correctly. Blood typing. Every man in the element knows who is type O, who is the universal donor. That information is not administrative, it is operational. Because somewhere in the chaos of a compound breach, in the smoke and the noise and the compressed time of a Ranger raid, a man is going to go down. And when he does, another Ranger will pull the ROLO kit from his own kit, find a vein in his own arm, and push his own warm, living blood directly into the man dying on the floor beside him. No refrigeration, no laboratory, no delay. One Ranger's blood, another Ranger's veins, in the middle of a firefight that has not paused to accommodate either of them. There is no bond in the American military more literal than this one, not symbolic, not ceremonial, biological. These men carry each other's survival in their own circulatory system, offered freely without hesitation in the worst moment of both their lives. That is the psychology of the Ranger blood kit. That is what the patch on the shoulder actually costs. Level 5. USAF 24th Special Tactics Squadron. The AN/PRC-117G. The radio's heavy. Everyone who carries it knows it before the first step off the bird. Multi-band, satellite-capable. 23 pounds with the antenna and battery system configured for sustained operations. It rides your back like a deliberate punishment. You carry it because of what it can do. You are a combat controller. 24th STS. You deploy alongside Delta and DEVGRU into the most contested environments the U.S. military enters. Your job is not primarily to fight the man in front of you. Your job is to control the sky above him. The PRC-117G allows you to speak simultaneously to satellites, to ground force commanders, to fixed-wing assets, to rotary, to artillery, every frequency, every net, every platform, coordinated through one encrypted box on your back. You find the target, you verify, you whisper a 9-line medevac or a strike call into the handset, and somewhere above you, a pilot already knows. He is already nosed over. The math is already done. 4 seconds later, a building that was standing is not. The rifle is the weapon people think about. The radio is the weapon that ends the war. One combat controller with the PRC-117G can summon millions of dollars of precision ordnance onto a target with a brevity code that takes less than 10 seconds to speak. The destruction that follows is absolute, surgical, and invisible from where you are standing. You called it, you watched it, you moved on. The most lethal tool on the modern battlefield does not fire bullets. It fires coordinates. Outro. Here is the truth beneath all of it. The goggles cost $40,000. The plate carrier is machined to tolerances that defeat ballistic physics. The radio can talk to satellites. The digital map sees the entire battlefield in real time. The blood kit can save a man's life on a dirt floor in the dark. None of it functions without the man wearing it. The gear is the product of decades of engineering, of combat lessons written in casualties, of requirements submitted by men who learned what they needed the hard way in places whose names are still classified. But the gear is also inert until the operator picks it up, until the man who has been selected, trained, reduced, and rebuilt around a standard that has no civilian equivalent decides what to do with what he is carrying. The technology is extraordinary. The psychology behind it is something else. It is the difference between equipment and a weapon system. The equipment is what you can buy. The weapon system is what you become after 10 years of learning how to use it correctly, under conditions where incorrect is not a recoverable option. The gear changes the resolution of the battlefield. The man changes what that resolution is used for. That is what Tier 1 actually means.